You think the 3 a.m. dread is a problem. You've been told it's anxiety, stress, insomnia, something broken that needs fixing. But what if I told you that waking up terrified in the middle of the night isn't a disorder, it's a gift? And for most of human history, it was the thing that kept us alive. Let me take you back to the moment it happens. You're asleep. Maybe you're dreaming. Then, without warning, you're awake. Your eyes open to a dark room. Your heart is pounding. Your mind is already racing, scanning for a threat that isn't there. You check your phone, 3:14 a.m., and then it starts. The thoughts, the ones you thought you'd buried, the mistake you made at work, the thing you said to someone that you can't take back, the future you're terrified of, the person you're afraid you're becoming, and you can't stop it. You lie there, paralyzed, while your own brain attacks you with everything you're most afraid of. And here's the strangest part. Almost everyone experiences this. Studies have shown that roughly 70% of people report waking up in the middle of the night with intrusive thoughts, but almost nobody knows why. We assume it's anxiety. We assume it's stress. We assume something is wrong with us, so we reach for our phones. We scroll. We try to outrun the thoughts, but the thoughts follow, because the thoughts aren't random. They're not a malfunction, and they're not a sign that you're broken. They're a signal from something ancient. To understand it, we have to go back, way back, before electricity, before beds, before walls, back to a time when humans slept in the open, exposed to the world, surrounded by predators. For most of human history, the night was the most dangerous time to be alive. Predators hunted in the dark. Other tribes attacked under cover of darkness, and your ancestors had no choice but to sleep. They had to rest, but they also had to survive. So evolution found a solution. It split the night into two halves. You've probably heard of first sleep and second sleep, the biphasic sleep pattern that dominated human history until the industrial age. But there's a third piece that rarely gets talked about. The moment between sleeps, the moment when you naturally wake up, not with a racing heart, but with a quiet awareness, a moment to check, to listen, to scan the darkness for threats. That moment, that 3 a.m. window, was the most important moment of the night for your ancestors. It was the moment when they made sure they were still safe. Now here's the thing. Your brain didn't stop running that program. It's still running. The cortisol spike that wakes you up, the heightened awareness, the hypervigilance, the flood of anxious thoughts, all of it is the same program your ancestors ran every single night for 300,000 years. The only difference is that they woke up to a world full of actual threats. You wake up to a world full of texts you haven't replied to and emails you haven't sent, and your brain doesn't know the difference. It treats your unfinished to-do list like a predator. It treats your social anxiety like a threat. It treats your fear of failure like a saber-toothed tiger, and it tries to keep you alive. But it's running an ancient program in a modern world, and that's why it feels so wrong. But here's where it gets complicated, because not all 3 a.m. waking is evolutionary. Some of it is modern. Some of it is your body responding to the artificial lights that delay your melatonin. Some of it is the blue light from your phone that tricks your brain into thinking it's daytime. Some of it is the caffeine you drank at 4 p.m. that's still in your system. Some of it is the stress of a world that never stops. And that's the nuance that most people miss. Your 3 a.m. brain isn't just one thing. It's layered. It's ancient and modern at the same time. It's the ghost of your ancestors and the reality of your inbox. And understanding that, really understanding it, changes everything about how you experience it. So, here's the question that matters. If the 3 a.m. brain is both ancient and modern, which part is actually talking to you? And how do you tell the difference? This is where the research gets even more interesting. Psychologists have identified a specific phenomenon called nocturnal awakening, and they've found that people who wake up in the middle of the night don't just experience random anxiety. They experience something more targeted. Their brains, in that vulnerable state, tend to surface unresolved problems, not abstract fears, specific ones. The argument you didn't finish, the decision you've been avoiding, the conversation you're dreading. And here's the part that changes everything. When researchers studied what people actually do during these moments, they found something unexpected. The people who stayed awake, who didn't reach for their phones or try to force themselves back to sleep, reported having insights that stuck with them for days. Not panic, clarity. So what if the 3 a.m. brain isn't just a defense mechanism? What if it's also a creative one? What if the ancient program that scanned for predators also scans for unresolved patterns? And what if that's precisely the moment when your brain is trying to hand you a solution? That brings us back to the gift. Because here's the thing about gifts. They don't always look like gifts when you receive them. Sometimes they look like panic. Sometimes they look like dread. Sometimes they look like everything you're afraid of, all at once. But if you sit with it, just sit with it, without your phone, without distraction, without trying to escape, you might notice something. The thoughts that come to you at 3 a.m. aren't random. They're the things you've been avoiding, the things you're afraid to face, the things your conscious mind pushes away during the day, only for your ancient brain to surface them when you're too tired to resist. What if the 3 a.m. dread isn't an enemy? What if it's a mirror, showing you the parts of yourself you've been trying to ignore? And that's the part nobody talks about. The real gift. That moment when you're lying there in the dark, heart racing, mind spiraling, that's not weakness. That's awareness. That's the part of you that's still paying attention. The part that hasn't been numbed by distraction. The part that knows somehow that something is off. And it's that part, the one that wakes you up, that might be the thing that saves you. Not from a predator, not from a threat, but from a life you're not fully living. A life where you're scrolling instead of feeling. A life where you're surviving instead of thriving. A life where you've forgotten that you're part of something ancient and beautiful and strange. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m., and you will, don't reach for your phone. Don't try to outrun the thoughts. Don't convince yourself you're broken. Just lie there. Listen to what your brain is trying to tell you. And remember this, you're not the first human to feel this. You're not the last. And for most of human history, that moment in the dark wasn't a sign that something was wrong. It was a sign that you were still alive, still paying attention, still human. I want to hear what your 3 a.m. brain keeps telling you. Drop it in the comments. I'll read every single one.